Familia hermosa, esta agrupación pues la descubrimos gracias a uno de los que estuvo, un cubano sabroso que estuvo en el Isle of Light 2022 y pues ha sacado una canción con esta agrupación a quien entrevistamos hoy y pues nos ha motivado a conocer muchísimo más de su música y es por eso que recibimos en Radio Bizarro a French Horn Rebellion. Hello,
Hello.
Roberto, ¿cómo
Hola,
estás?
Roberto.
Mucho gusto.
Thanks for the time and
yes.
thank you very much for your music. We love it. As I was saying, we got the chance to know you guys through Sima Funk, and I would really would like to start an interview with that collaboration. Tell us everything around the song and how did you guys meet each other?
So we're in New York City. We have a music studio, as you can see if you're watching, if you're going to see a video later or whatever, but we're in New York. I'm in New York right now. And we have this place. We always are trying to have musicians come through and make music and just to have kind of it be a really fun place, like the new Motown or something like that. And so, of course, we have musicians from all over the world coming in all the time. And there was this one event that was put together by a guy named Danny Ross, who put together this event at our studio and put musicians together to make music. And so I saw the musicians that were coming, and Sima Funk was one of the musicians. And mi esposa, Alejandra, who is a Colombiana, Sima Funk is her favorite artist. So I was like, oh, I'm going to get some points with my wife on this one. I messaged Danny, and I was like, Danny, you have to pair me with Sima Funk because my life kind of depends on it, man, you know?
Bro.
Was she mad at you at the time or something?
No, because I was like, I got to really impress my wife, you know? Because it's like, you know, anyways, so I was like, oh, man, and she's going to love it, you know, because she loves Sima Funk and everything. And also, there's a lot of collaborations that I've been doing lately that are really similar to the music Sima Funk was doing. We had a song called Soy Bonita, which did really well, and it was super fun, which we wrote that with a guy named Felipe Gordon, who's Colombian. And Felipe does all sorts of styles of music, but he is known for jazzy house with some maybe some Latin influence, but mostly just jazzy house. He's an underground DJ guy. So anyways, we've done a lot of music like that. And so when Sima came to the studio, I had all these vinyls that were all ready for him. Because we have a pretty, not a huge, but a big vinyl collection. And so I was like, oh, he's going to I had, of course, Soy Bonita, but I had music from this artist called the Prince of Queens, who's a Latino artist in New York, who's released on this label called Names You Can Trust. And I had Combo Chimbita also on vinyl, which is also on the same label. So I had a few stuff ready for Sima. And Sima was like, whoa, who are you guys? What is this studio? How did this happen? You know? And then it was just explosion. And we just made some stuff. And of course, I can't forget Stalking Gia, who was also brought into the session. So it was the three of us paired together, where I was the producer role. And then Sima Funk was obviously the artist. And in that case, Stalking Gia was the writer. But she ended up making a feature and making a main artist credit as well. So it was a power collab kind of.
So I think
that's what happened.
The main question in this scenario is, did your wife know about this collaboration before it was released, or it was a whole surprise for her?
She knows all about it. I was like, Alejandra, I'm going to the studio today to work with Sima Funk.
Oh my God.
Ay, Roberto. You know? She's so excited. And then,
God.
So then I came, because this sometimes when people get together and music comes together so crazy fast and it just happens, there's an amazing explosion that happens of just everything's right. It's a very good collaboration. And that song, we wrote pretty much the whole thing in 4 hours.
Whoa.
And just all in there. And and then of course we spent time to really hone it in, to make it the right length. And maybe we cut out some sections and we added a few instruments later, but the core of it was done. So I went home that night and I showed it to Alejandra and she was like, ay, Roberto.
I guess that's recurring.
Yeah, and it is a really good song. I would like to know about this melody. There's a melody inside the songs that says beep bop 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 beep beep bop bop beep beep. Who's that from?
Yeah, so Sima, we had like a groove going, just like this, and then it was like like that, and then Sima's on the mic. Because I have like whenever I'm in session with people, I always just put the mic on.
Okay.
And they don't know it's on.
Okay, that's great
the best
idea.
tip ever, because then you have an idea and you forget it and you're like, so how do I get it back?
So basically what you're saying is that Sima didn't know you were recording the session while he was doing that.
He was going like, and then all of a sudden he's going like, he's like, hey amigo, I have it. And I'm like, I already recorded it. So I pressed play and he was like, oh man, that's crazy, you know?
Yeah.
So it was fun.
And it is also fun because not only have you been in DR, but I feel like you're so engraved with Latin culture that you portrayed it perfectly. It feels just like a song with so much groove, so much energy, and both Talking G and Sima Funk do add their own characteristics, but you can still sound, there's like the French horn sound like back there still. That is the core, and it's like the base of the song. It's everything. How was that production? I mean, you said that you did it in 4 hours. How was everything at the end? Like, did you guys do it in 3 months, in 2 weeks? How was the resolution of everything?
Well, it's a really crazy story because what happened was we did the session, and this happens a lot where you make the song and then it goes into your computer and everybody's like, hey, this is really good. Like, what do people want to do with this, you know? And like at that time, so French Horn Rebellion, like we have been doing a lot of, French Horn Rebellion started in 2008, so long ago. We've been making music for a long time with me and my brother. And when we started, it was like just, you know, in like the indie dance sort of world. And we released a lot of stuff like that. But then, you know, I think what happened was we started playing a lot of shows in Latin America. And I think it was, my guess is because stuff like Miami Horror and stuff like Moulinex and stuff like, you know, these artists that we had, you know, played shows with over the years or collaborated with. And they were, for some reason, Mexico City, all those artists was happening there. So then we started playing a ton of shows down there. And then I was DJing a lot down there. And then, of course, I met my wife, who's Colombian. I met her in New York. So it was totally random and not at all. But it was very impressive when we met that I had been to Colombia. And she was like, wow, you've been to Colombia? And I was like, yes, like 5 times. Like, we played at Armando Records and we played in Medellin. We played all these places. So she was like, oh, maybe I should check this guy out. So that helped me too, obviously. So I think all those in Colombia who supported French Horn Rebellion. But anyways, fast forward. So the track, you know, has a lot of those Latin influence that we have from that sort of like all those years of being down in Latin America. And in 2020, I was living with my in-laws for like 6 months in Bogota. So because we got stuck during the pandemic, not stuck, we were happily in the same house together.
Gotta be careful of the phrases.
Yeah, we know what you mean.
It's not stuck. although the border was like closed, so you couldn't leave. So
you were basically stuck.
Yeah, but you know, he was with his in-laws, so he can't really say stuck because it could be misinterpreted.
You were suegros, man.
You weren't emotionally stuck. You were just physically stuck.
Well, I think we were emotionally free in that I was doing weird things on the internet, like hacking computers and learning how to code and like doing weird stuff.
Robert, this is a dark path. Let's just go back to music.
Don't go into hacking.
You know what I did during the pandemic, which was sort of scary, is that from a distance in Colombia, I was able to program a computer in San Francisco that has an artificial intelligence bot on it that makes music. So I programmed an artificial intelligence bot to make a song. That's like what I was doing during the pandemic. That's why I was in Colombia. So it was okay. It was.
So you're
I was like just physically stuck. I couldn't go anywhere because there was a border restriction.
So what you're saying basically is you are a musician, a nerd musician. That's basically what you're saying. That you found a way during those 6 months to keep producing from Colombia through technology. How did that work? Tell us about that.
And an AI making music in where?
Yeah, so, well, you know, I think like a lot of musicians tend to be like, oh man, like, it's all about the music, man, and like they don't like new technology. I don't think a lot of musicians particularly like new technology because then it's like, oh man, I got to learn this new thing, or like, oh, now I got to learn how to do a Instagram post. Now I got to learn how to do a TikTok reel. Now I got to do like whatever. That's always like changing. So I want to be a person that's like on the sort of on the front of stuff, like, and get excited about it.
Of
And
course.
so when I was reading something online about this artificial intelligence, like they have been created. It's called Jukebox AI, and it's very cool. You can like try to So what I try to do is I tried to feed the AI a lot of songs that I had released on my label on the Toucan Sounds,
Okay.
and then I was like, okay, make a new song based on all those songs that you've already heard, and like do it in the style of like something in its database. So that's how I did it, and it was pretty fun. It was super crazy.
And where's that music?
Where's that song?
That song is on my hard drive. It's on, it's on our. It's really cool, actually. I should revisit it and do something with some of that stuff. It turned out pretty cool, but it would need to be, it needs
Mix
to
and all
be
of that.
edited.
No,
Yeah.
that's totally fine. But just because of the creativity and innovation of actually using technology, and that's something really important that I would like to highlight too about music and technology, because a lot of artists are feeling a bit replaced, I
Yeah.
feel, or are feeling a competition with technology when people can use it hand on hand. I mean, that's why
Yeah.
there's a lot of electronic music that's still really revolutionary, and a lot of genres, including sounds and synthesizers, for example, are part of technology, even though they had their boom at the 80s. We're still using them now, and
course.
it's pretty much technology.
And
I mean, to tech. I have a lot of opinions about this because I'm in music every day, and I'm an artist, but I also work with tons of other artists, and we also have a record label. We release music. So my life is music, and the longer that I'm in music, the more that I realize that music is not like, there's something much deeper about it that is not like an industry thing. It's not like artist versus artist. It's not like streams. It's about like people getting together and like communicating through music. So I think whatever enables people to be able to do that, and I think the future is actually everybody being able to play music. Everybody can get on their iPad right now and they can play on their garage band, and they can make a really cool recording. And I think that scares a lot of people, but I think the truth is that it's actually amazing, and it's bringing us back in time in a way, like when the late 1800s or the 1700s, like people played instruments because that was the only way they could make music together. So maybe they play a drum, or they'll play like a lute, or and they'll sing, with their family, at home.
And you know something, that anybody could be able to do music, that doesn't necessarily mean that the music industry is gonna fall, or that everyone has to be a professional artist, let's say. It just means that more people have that tool to connect, as you said.
Yeah, definitely. And there'll always be some people that will be doing something that people are interested in, obviously more than others. But I think if you lose, it's good to keep track of like what the purpose of it is, of the music.
Of course.
But anyways, we were asking about the like after the song was done,
Yeah.
what happened about the journey there was it actually sat around for almost a year and a half.
Oh.
And it was because we had so many projects at the studio, and like my brother and I were like, oh, maybe we're going to be more behind the scenes guys, and we're going to like be doing productions, and we're going to be like having a label. I don't know if we're going to release any more music, And then like it was a combination of like SEMA, Stalking Gia, like people at the studio, people hit me up online. They were like, you got to bring back French Horn Rebellion, man. You got to do it because this track's so hot. You got to bring it back. So we're like, all right, let's do it.
They were right.
They guided you to the right path, because it is
Yeah.
an amazing track. And I'm just so excited for whatever is coming in the future, because I know this is going to, not only have you been like playing around with songs in Spanish, but I just feel like this is a really great sound that just fits. It's just like such a beautiful marriage. And now that even your wife is Colombian, like you have that Latin so close to you now more than ever.
I would
Oh
like
my gosh, my home music is pretty much Bomba Stereo, Combo Chimbita, like Reina Tropical, Sima Funk, like just on repeat all day. It's like all I'm listening to.
I would like to dig a little bit more into Spanish music because, as you said in the beginning of the interview, you have "Soy Bonita," and also there's another song that has its title on Spanish is "Catalina Dice." So I really would like to know why Spanish music on your Spotify. Why are you what are you looking for? And what do you think about Spanish songs during this time in the industry?
Well, I think it sort of initially happened out of just curiosity because we're musicians and we want to meet new people and we want to like you get tired of like being in your little spot and you want to go other places and be exposed to things you've never been exposed to. French Rebellion, we're from Milwaukee. My brother and I are from Wisconsin, which is like a very insular place in the United States, and people do not travel in Wisconsin, and there's not a lot of interest in international travel or learning another language, or it's kind of like in Wisconsin, people are like, they're good people that work hard, and a lot of people working, but they don't have that desire. Not everybody, but a generality. So when we left Wisconsin and New York, we've always been wanting to explore and discover new cultures and discover new people. And we've performed all over the world. I mean, we played shows in Asia, Australia, Europe. I mean, and lots of shows too. I mean, like hundreds of shows, thousands of shows probably. And so, like, and in New York, there's so much Spanish speaking going on all the time, everywhere.
Yeah.
Like my building. So the guy that I get my deli sandwiches from on the corner, he knows that I'm trying to practice my Spanish. So he always talks to me in Spanish.
Nice.
He's like, Roberto, ¿qué pasó? I'm like, okay, a sandwich con, tomate, like pavo con tomate, lechuga, mustasa, like all that, whatever. And he's like, okay, papi. I'm like, yeah, thank you. Gracias. And I'm like, so that's my guy. In here in New York, it's all mixed up. And my building, even the building I live in, like everybody's like Puerto Rican, so like a lot of influence there.
You got all the Spanish right there.
And something is happening with the Spanish music and the music industry, and I really would like to know your point of view around that. Like we have Bad Bunny now, which is the number one artist in the world. Something is happening with the Spanish language and music nowadays. And let me tell you something before you answer. Here in the Dominican Republic, in Latin America, 10 years ago, we thought that we needed to speak English to actually make a living from music. And now it's happening the opposite, all the other side. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is happening in every country that like I was just in Germany like last month and people are having the same conversation, and it's totally different though with Latin American music or music in Spanish. It's just because there's been a huge crossover, and I think it's because there's just a lot of people that speak Spanish in the United States now than there used to be, or like people are more comfortable like speaking Spanish like just normally, like at least on where I live in New York City, like I probably hear Spanish like 50% of the words spoken in my life are probably in Spanish.
Also taking in consideration your wife is
Right.
She's Colombian.
Yeah, from Colombia. So you probably hear in your day-to-day way much more Spanish than what you intended to listen to.
Yeah, and she usually like does more Spanish when she's mad too. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, so then it's like, oh my gosh, these words have extra meaning to them, It's like,
yeah, it's not just an expression and a volume. It's like I have to know what she's fighting about.
Of course.
Yeah, exactly.
That's gonna be funny. I'm sorry, but that's like she fighting on you in Spanish, and you're trying to decipher like what is she even talking about right now.
Like, And then I go like, mi amor, lo siento, mi amor. No, you know.
Your wife sounds really fun. I do want to ask a question, and this has nothing to do with music.
Okay.
Favorite Latin American food? It could be Colombian. It can be from here. It can be
Oh
from any
man,
part.
that's hard. That's so hard.
Top 3. It could be or 1. It could be just anything. Something that really striked you when.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Okay.
have to be
So
your
I think
favorite.
the most interesting for me was I played a show in Culiacan. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. Culiacan in that's like in the western side of Mexico. It's like in the it's kind of like not that close to the water, but I guess it's close enough that you can get a lot of fish. So I was out in Culiacan having like a lunch, and I was expecting like the American Mexican food, which is burritos or something. No, but it was like ceviche on like these delicate tostadas with like crazy amazing flavors, and that was just something I didn't expect. Like, oh my gosh, like in Mexico you have like crazy good ceviche, and that's the food. It's not just like tacos or something.
Of course.
Tacos and burritos. We love those, though.
So what are you doing now in terms of music? What can we expect from French Horn Rebellion?
Yeah, so right now we had so many tracks that were like this, like the Cima Funk track, where Cima Funk, or like the artist is like, why don't you release it as French Horn Rebellion? Like, I love you guys.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of tracks like this. So I took like the whole month of August, and I like didn't take any sessions. And I went to Wisconsin, and I like holed myself up, and I discovered that we have as French Horn Rebellion like 50 songs that are just like in the vault that we have been sitting on. And so I was like, okay, like what's my favorite, So we have so many great songs. It's crazy. I'm working on the song I'm working on right now is actually so French Horn Rebellion is all this indie pop stuff that's like a lot of hooks and a lot of fun, And I also DJ in New York, and we have this label that focuses on dance music called Toucan Sounds. And that's the vinyl I was showing you, the record I was showing you guys earlier. And, the artists that we work with on there are, house, disco, techno, like stuff for DJs. And so like I have my own thing, Robert PM, where now I'm doing stuff that could go out on Toucan Sounds, which is more experimental, or maybe more house or disco or techno, like more dance focused, not so fun, It's still fun, it's just different fun. But on the Yaje Gay, I did a Robert PM edit of it, actually, that was like an extended, like 7-minute, like guitar solo sort of thing. That just came out last week, and that's like for the DJ, for the DJs, And so the future is this next year, like pending something crazy doesn't happen, or what's the plan is we're going to be releasing a lot of new music, like a lot.
You gotta send it to us, okay?
Yeah, you must know you have a home here in the Dominican Republic. Not only because of Shave Your Legs, because we were talking about it before, that you have been here in the DR.
I saw you guys live, and the thing is that it was a complicated date, okay? I was fighting with my boyfriend on the whole concert, so I was not concentrated. Yeah. No, por favor, no suban esto. No suban esto. Please don't post this on social media because he's gonna dump me, okay? So
man.
Yeah. No, I remember because I probably have a video with you guys in the background.
Everybody have fun.
We did have fun though. We did have fun. It was just some chaotic. I saw like an X, and I was just having like a panic attack. He was like, "But why are you having a panic attack? You're not with him."
Seriously talking about this night?
Oh my gosh.
I mean, he spoke about his wife and her fighting on Spanish. I feel like I have to give something back now.
Well, I'm a forever Alonso.
No, she's not like that. No, my wife's super awesome. She's awesome.
There you go.
She's beautiful, and she's like she's a real like genuine person. Like everybody that meets Alejandra is like, oh my gosh, Robert, you're the luckiest guy ever. And I'm like, I know, it's true. It's amazing.
Next time we talk, she should be in the interview too.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
it could be great.
She has been on something because I've been doing a lot of interviews for the song, and like this one I'm at the studio, but sometimes I'm at the apartment. So I'll be like, yeah, Alejandra, what do you think? And she's like, Sí, Roberto. Bueno. Like, okay.
So talkative, Brian.
But actually, that show, we played it with these guys called the Bag Raiders. We were also at that festival.
Yeah.
And I remember, I was backstage with the Bag Raiders, and the Bag Raider guy was playing my French horn because I play French horn.
Yeah,
Of course.
during
that's the whole
shows.
thing. Yeah.
And so he was like, "Brrr." It was like, sounds like a didgeridoo.
Well,
No.
I really hope.
That's what he said back.
I
That was
really
a real
hope
moment.
you can come to the VR again one more time, and we can have this chat in person. That will be
Yes.
awesome, and maybe have your French horn close to us, and
You
maybe do
you
some
should teach
play.
us how to play because I know it is
It's
quite a
hard.
complex and more traditional sounding instrument. I don't see it that much in music, and it's something really appreciated that you take something that not only are you passionate about, an instrument that you love, and you're trying to create the space for it.
Yeah, that's the goal. Is like, I think the whole point. It's really great you brought it up that way. I hadn't even thought of that in such a long time because French Horn Rebellion, like, it's been around for so long, and now we say this word, like, creating space for something, and like that's really what the whole point of French Horn Rebellion was forever. Has been like, hey, you guys, you're just reading sheet music and you're not actually listening to what you're playing, and you're just doing what the conductor says. Like, you can make your own music. Everybody can make their own music. We were talking about this earlier. That's the whole point of French Horn Rebellion. It's like, guys, don't, like, you could play French horn if you want, but what if you played French horn differently? Or what if you improvise? Or what if you played something from your heart, not something that you're being told to play? So that's the idea. That's the whole point of the band.
And it's lovely, to be honest. I think that this momentum that we're living in the music is all about that. It's all about being who you really are. It's all about creating space for people to be who they really are and to connect through music. And I think that's the lovely part of this job. And you guys, you do it in a perfect way. We love the music you do. That's a fact. That's why we're playing since the day one the song with Sima Funk. So any song that you release during these days, please let us know.
Yeah, I'll send it over. I'll get it to you guys. We'll have to do a show. I'll talk to Solomon. I'll say, hey, listen, there's the people. They want the French horn, Solomon.
You say just like that. In case you need to know, you say the ratas, because we call our listeners ratas. Now that
Like
you know
rats?
Spanish,
Oh, ratas?
like rats, yeah. We call it because bisa ratas. Yeah, so
It's like a saying, like the bizarrettes, but in Spanish it goes bizarrata. So that's how we call it. And they love to be called rats. I don't know, for a reason.
The Bizarrata.
The bizarrettes.
Yeah.
Cool.
so you say las ratas quieren a French horn.
Las ratas quieren a French horn, Solomon. Ahora.
They totally do. They totally do.
Robert, thank you very much for your time. Thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for this interview. I hope you at least had a good time with us. And thanks for
Had a
sharing
great
your
time.
music.
We'll see you guys soon. Stay in touch. If you're in New York, you know who to call.
Totally.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'll talk with you when we're together.
As I told you, I would love to be there with you doing some music. That will be fantastic. So we thank you very much for the invitation.
Great. Okay.
A hug from the DR. Thank you very much. Y nosotros continuamos disfrutando de Radio Bizarro Music for the rest of us. Quédese ahí. Esta es la X102.1 FM.